Hello, Don in London here. It's August 17th, and August 17th, 2009. My video is all about recovery from addiction to substance or behaviour. My addictive substance was alcohol. My behaviour, probably trying to be perfect in all elements of life. Emotional, spiritual, physical, as I've come to understand them, and the material. And I guess it was the material addictions that I had which kept me working hard, probably at things which I found myself able to do, but not necessarily very fulfilling for me as an individual. So there always seemed to be a gap inside me, always seemed to be a need to put on a brave face, never show fear, whilst I did feel fearful, and utilise my ego far too often, when a bit of courage, faith and confidence might have been the best way forward. So what is it like to give up and be in recovery? Well, the simple answer is that on a daily basis for me, I don't want or need a drink, and I don't want or need to act out with other behaviour which helps me feel good. It's always still about, I would always like a bit more of something, a bit like Oliver Twist we are in recovery. We want some more, but normally it's wanting some more to make life worthwhile and just to cover our needs, rather than to speculate or fantasise about what would it be like if we won the lottery. And the lottery gave me one chance, I suspect, a moment of clarity, when I suddenly realised that if I were to get back to any sort of state of normal living, I needed help and support. So the absolute moment of clarity for me was some years back, standing looking out at a very cold January morning in a damp basement flat not far from where I am today, wondering how on earth could it get any worse. And the simple answer was, this was another rock bottom, and the answer was it could get worse, and much worse, and it did. But somehow I managed to ring up for some professional advice which I got, and it set me on a road of recovery. So my entry into recovery was very long, very difficult, and full of self-will run riot. I still try to do it on my own willpower, and every time I used my willpower I realised it would fail ultimately. Because if we run on self-will, we will run out, and we won't have enough in us to make life work. So these days I now have a more sensible approach, which is to be part of a fellowship, part of a family, part of a community, and get the right professional help to help me deal with any other medical issues I have. And that was a hard road. I'd always been taught to look after myself, put on a brave face, and get on with it. And if somebody asked me to do something connected with work which would improve matters, I said yes, which then meant I accelerated my life and my hard work. And I did that for more than 30 years. So what have I learned over the last 24 hours? This is what I do. I keep a video log. It helps me centre me for what is happening now. And also it's sharing a message of experience, strength and hope to people who maybe don't like AA, or don't want to be part of it, or don't even understand it. And for people who are not addicted to anything, substance or behaviour, this video may sound like nonsense or confusion, but for me it makes sense. And for a lot of people who desire not to drink or drug anymore, or behave addictively, it's maybe an opening up of what is possible. And AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, helps me immensely. It's an integral part of my regime. It has 12 steps of action which I take on a daily basis, or experience on a daily basis, because they work. They gave me it's a framework for making life work, or experiencing life and making choices in the day. So I go to AA meetings, and I don't speak for the fellowship, never can. It's full of unique, authentic people, and I always say that because I absolutely feel that everybody's on the same level. No one's bigger or smaller, more important or less important in AA, from a newcomer, not quite sober, to somebody who's 50 years sober. So what does that mean? Well, we're on the same level playing field when we're in the fellowship, and we're sharing our experience, strength and hope, which we do through meetings. So I've just extended my area, if you like, to YouTube, simply because it gives an opportunity for people to know that there is a way out. And there is a statement said at the beginning of every AA meeting which I share here, and it slows me down into being here, present in this one moment. So here it goes. The AA preamble, or statement of intent. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution. Does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. So in that last sentence where it says our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety, this is partly why I do these, to let people know broadly that there is a way forward, and that's without a drink inside us, just one day at a time. And the other thing it says there is the only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. So that's it. A desire to stop drinking, you can be in, and you can leave whenever you like. You know, there is nothing but suggestions. There are no rules, but there are principles, and there's 12 traditions which hold the fellowship together around unity, service, and recovery. And there are the 12 steps of action for an individual around emotional, spiritual, and physical well-being. So 12 months, 12 steps. There's a book which I share here called Daily Reflections. This one, and so for each month it covers one of the steps more in depth than maybe some of the other literature. So I'll share the daily reading very shortly. And as Bill sees it, this one, co-founder, wrote words and articles and goodness knows what, and there's 1 page a day or as many pages as a day just to get a message of maybe peace and tranquility, even when we're dealing with the worst of life, which could be death of a relative or just absolute bankruptcy in every department of life. So when we reach a rock bottom, it's a good place to start trying to make life work just in the moment of now, and then learn how to deal with life as it will always have its ups and downs, like normal people deal with it, hopefully, with not too much denial, but enough to get. Denial is a coping strategy, it's not a life plan, and drink became a coping strategy on a long-term basis for me, 30 odd years I suspect, taking the edge off. So I go for a life plan one day long these days. Last night we had a meeting, and the person who was going to share as a chairperson didn't turn up, because they had something much more important to do, actually. The tea person didn't show up, the literature person didn't show up, but I had my big book with me of AA, and that little card I refer from every day, this one, which has the 12 steps, 12 traditions, and that AA preamble on the back. And it's very useful, because in times of trouble, just reading the preamble reminds me of what can happen, and how to let the day happen, be a part of it, and know my part in it, no bigger, no smaller than anybody else, even when it feels like it's all about me. So, the daily reflections for today, and that's about all I'm going to cover, because I'm running late. It says, August 17th, righting the harm, as in putting things right. In many instances we shall find that though the harm done others has not been great, the emotional harm we have done ourselves has. And that's the awful part of it. As we do harm to others, we do not feel it, and then of course we kick off another drinking binge. Or I used to. I try not to do harm now if I can avoid it. Have you ever thought that the harm you did a business associate, or perhaps a family member was so slighted that it didn't really deserve an apology, because they probably wouldn't remember it anyway? If that person and the wrong done to him keeps coming to mind time and time again, causing an uneasy or perhaps guilty feeling, then I put that person's name at the top of my amends list and become willing to make a sincere apology, knowing I will feel calm and relaxed about that person once this very important part of my recovery is accomplished. And that's about step 7, and working at making a list of amends to do. And though it's not actually deciding in what order, we do that with the help of a sponsor or somebody we trust, and then work out how to do it. And that's part of step 9, which I'll cover in September. And my time is up. So, the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference just for today.